Greetings from Podcastville. The Church of What's Happening Now is brought to you by Onnit for all your supplement needs. Onnit will be there for you, from Shroom Tech Sport to Shroom Tech Immune to Alpha Brain, the fucking backbone of the organization. Let me tell you how strong Alpha Brain is. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back and they don't even want the product back. That's how much they believe in Alpha Brain. Number two, Onnit's got a new program called Onnit 6. It's a home workout that you could do right in your fucking house. It'll change your body in 6 weeks. It's called Onnit 6. Go to Onnit.com right now and press in.
Church.
Bam! And get 10% off sent right to your motherfucking house. And for you people always torture me, Joey, what kind of ghee do you got? I'm a fat fuck. I need a big ghee. Fuji, motherfucker. That's the ghee you need. Whether it's the ghees, whether it's the mouthpiece, whether it's the shin guards, whether it's the mats. Fuji's been around since Jesus left Chicago. You understand me? The first samurai had a Fuji fucking ghee on BC, before fucking Chino showed up. Never mind Christ. Chino showed up before fucking Christ, all right? But anyway, go to Fujisports.com right now and press in.
Church.
Bam! And get 10% off like a motherfucker. You understand me? And that's it and that's that. Kick this fucking mule, Lee. What's the story, Tom Rhodes?
What's up, Joey Diaz?
I'm happy to have you back on here. Fucking the Christ killer in full effect. It's a beautiful day to be alive. That's a Christ killer, the original, before fucking Jesus even knew about him. He snuck up.
Before Jesus left Chicago, I like that.
Who was first, Chino or the Christ killer?
Chino.
Okay.
Chino came first. Chinese guy came first before Jesus. First guy to smoke pot was Chinese. You know that?
Who was that?
Some guy, Ming. I don't fucking know.
Ming Wen.
Fucking narco.
I was like that. Confucius said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And I always think, only a Chinese guy would walk that far.
Fuck yeah. Confucius has some good motherfucking sayings. You know what I'm saying? That's why he was Confucius. He would confuse you. He'd sit there. What are you talking about steps? I just want to go to the fucking store. That's it. I just want spare ribs. I just want spare ribs.
Why do we have to go 1,000 miles?
I've been obsessed with, since I went to Mongolia, I've been obsessed with Genghis Khan. I read his biography.
Was he really that fucking nasty? I haven't read
Bad
it.
motherfucker,
Bad.
yeah. And so all they ate was meat and drank milk. So the Mongolians had like really strong bones, and they went down and rolled through China and those different dynasties and kingdoms. They were vegetarians, so they could slice through their bones really easily because they were so like kind of thin and brittle. So you mentioned China, and I just think about the Mongolians rolling through. And they like to attack in winter. They loved winter because the rivers and the moats were frozen and they could just roll right over it. And then in summer, their arrows weren't as accurate because they were a little, the heat would, soften them up a little bit.
Speaking of, because I had seen this and I wanted to look it up to make sure I was right. In the area where he was ruling in Asia, 8% of the men living in that area are related to him. So if you do 23andMe or whatever that is, Ancestry.com, in Asia, you have, like, if you're a man, they have 16 million descendants of Genghis Khan living today. That's how many people you have.
No, they did so much fucking everywhere.
Oh my
and
God.
He did, apparently. And so I did a show in Mongolia. I'm going to go back in August.
They're still in Mongolia?
Yeah, Mongolia is amazing. And I'm going to go back in August. And that was my opening. I said, apparently everyone in the world is somehow related to Genghis Khan. So I'm just here to visit family. Hello, cousins.
I'm Chinese.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. I'm a disciple of Genghis.
Your eyes are always...
Yeah, I got some fucking Genghis in me. You know what I'm saying?
I would believe that.
I bet my grandma fucked Genghis somewhere along the line. But I didn't know. I read something about him when I was locked up. I read like a paragraph about Genghis Khan. It was like guys, the meanest guys in civilization.
Well, he was a pretty badass ruler because he wasn't. And another thing, like under the rule of Genghis Khan, no individual was ever held responsible for a mistake or an error. It was the community's fault as a whole. So I said that in my show, and I said, so if this show doesn't go well tonight, it's all of our fault.
How's Mongolia? Like, is it cool?
It's great, man, and people are so sexy there. Like they got high cheekbones and really just stunningly beautiful people. They look like Avatar without the blue. They're just really beautiful people, and they're super friendly. Not a lot of people travel there, and food is amazing. It's meat on top of meat with a side dish of meat. And I loved it. And if you learn anything about the country before you go there, they go crazy. They love it.
Now, when you go to these places, what's your passport look like?
I'm on my 4th passport. I just got a new one about 6 months ago, which is too bad because my last passport, I had extra pages put in it twice, so it was really thick, and I filled it up. It was so great. You can't get more than 2 extra. Twice you can get extra pages put in it. That was the limit. That's as thick as an American passport can get, and it's beautiful. I got stamps from everywhere.
How hard is it for you to get into those countries? Like, do you have to plan your tour and like get visas from all these places, or do you just book plane tickets?
Well, like China, for example, I've been to China so many times. About 5 years ago, I don't know if they're still doing this. If you were a frequent visitor to China, they were giving out the 10-year visa. So I got the 10-year visa for China. Which is great because in LA, you would have to go to the Chinese consulate, which is like, oh my God, where it's between Wilshire and 6th, somewhere down there in Koreatown, and it was a day. You'd have to, to get in line and drop off your passport photos, and the forms would take a day, and then picking them up. Place was always really crowded and everything. So to have the 10-year visa is really a luxury.
Now, when you do comedy in Mongolia, who comes?
Mongolia was all Mongolians. There were 2
Americans.
There was an Australian guy and an American woman, and they were the only 2 non-Mongolians there. And the rest of the audience was... Ulaanbaatar is the capital city of Mongolia, and they call it UB City for short. And the comedy club there is called UB City Comedy Club. And I think it seats maybe 150, and I think I had like probably 95, 96 people. Great turnout. And I was interviewed on the Bloomberg television of Mongolia. They were under Soviet rule forever. And so they just got rid of the Soviet Union, the Russians, like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. So like they're just embracing capitalism after not having shit under being communist forever.
Now, what's the guy's name that owns the comedy club? Like Qatar?
Well, I did, man, the name's there. I don't know. I didn't meet the guy that owns the comedy club, but the name's there. There's a comedian there called Zolo, and that's just what English people call him. His name is actually like, I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's the best friend I made there. I love this guy. But his real name is like 12 letters long. And then you meet people there with names like, I arrived at the airport and 5 Mongolian comedians picked me up at the airport, and it was great. They cheered when I came out, and they just bent over backwards showing me their country while I was there. Their comedians were brothers, and the dude driving tells me his name is Steve, and I go, oh, come on, man, I can handle your Mongolian name. What's your real name? And the guy goes, what? The guy's name was a noise. And I talked about it on stage. I go, the guy's name was... And they go, oh, yeah, that's like a really common name in Mongolia. I'm like, not bullshitting you. And I go, okay. I go, what's your name? And the guy goes... I go, okay, Steve. But like, their language really sounds really melodic and beautiful, but some of the names are like noises you make after you've had a large meal.
So from Mongolia, where do you go do comedy? What's the next comedy club after fucking Mongolia? What's the country next to it?
Well, it's between China and Russia. So
have you done comedy in Russia yet?
I know, but I've been to St. Petersburg. I've filmed. When I lived in Holland, I did a year as a presenter on a travel show. So I got to film a highlight on St. Petersburg. Incredible city. Lots of canals styled after Amsterdam. The Hermitage, probably one of the greatest museums in the world. Catherine the Great had agents going all over Europe buying up Rembrandt paintings. Rembrandt had fallen out of style. And so they got the largest collection of Rembrandts. It's pretty pimp.
Now, when you do China, You've done China.
Yeah.
Because Ari worked in China. He goes, it was all Americans that showed up.
Well,
They all work at Apple or something. He said he was telling me. I don't fucking know.
Half the audience will be international people. We won the language. We won the lottery when it comes to the language. 300 years ago, the international language of business was French. Now it's English because of the internet. Look at airline pilots. They got to be able to communicate in English no matter what country they're from to land. And I don't know if that's totally true, but
I saw that on Instagram too.
but didn't you hear that?
Yeah. I think I saw it as like a fact. I don't know if any of those posts are real, but
when I'm playing in China, the audience is half the audience will be internationals from everywhere. You got Australians, Canadians, Irish, English, Italians, Germans, Swiss, and then half the audience will be Chinese American, Chinese Canadian, Chinese English, whatever, and then Chinese people who were educated in Western countries and love English language comedy. So it's usually half Chinese and half international in China.
Now, where do you go to next?
Now I'm going to Philadelphia. I'm going to be at the Punchline in Philadelphia, July 28th through the 30th. And this is the first time I've been back in Philadelphia since I got this scar on my forehead.
Oh, since you got sober.
Since I got sober. When I was so drunk in Philadelphia and I blacked out and fell off that bar stool like a tree and fucking busted my head open. And Philadelphia is a great city to get a scar in, The couple days I was there walking around and I had the fresh stitches on my forehead and I had a black eye. I got so much street credibility from all the homeless dudes in Philadelphia. What happened to you, big man? Did you get into a rumble? It was great.
How long ago was this? 2 years ago?
4 years ago.
So you've been sober 4 years.
Yeah.
No alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
How's it feel?
Feels great. Yeah.
Did you ever think you would be clean?
Never. No, I never thought.
Is that the weirdest thing?
Never, ever in my life thought I would not be drinking and not be smoking cigarettes. It was such a big part of my life. I still love booze, and I still love cigarettes. Just trying to get some shit done and squeeze a few extra years out of living,
How long have you been clean from the cigarettes?
3 years. Once I quit the booze, I thought, fuck. If I could do that, I bet I could kick the cigs. And the cigs were harder, definitely. I'm still sucking on the nicotine lozenges once in a while.
Let me ask you this. Was the age a big factor in this? Like for me, I could tell you that I got clean. Yeah, I got clean, blah, 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 blah. But I also think that I was just tired. I was tired of being in that position. It had been a long fucking time, It had been like, 17 years that I hadn't had a day off. Like I went on
from fucking man hardcore. You and I, when we met, in Houston, we were both. And that's why we hit it off so well.
When I committed,
it was like, hey, this is a guy who fucking goes as hard as I do.
Yeah, when I committed to comedy, I committed to party.
Yeah, well, I always thought that being a comedian, part of it was being the life of the party and being,
I don't know about being the life of the party. I just knew I had a party.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the life of the party. I didn't want nobody to know what I was holding. I just knew that part of the mystique of getting into comedy was the drug part of it. That I would have no responsibility to life.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. I did not have the same responsibility as other people had. That was part of me.
Part of the allure.
Part of the allure was that I lost control, but I really didn't. That was part of the allure. That you lose control, but you really didn't. I'm thinking about why I thought the Netflix special wasn't so good. You want me to tell you why? Because I got scared. That's not me. I'm the type of guy, I don't give a fuck when I go on stage. This is what I'm saying. This is how I'm delivering it. Either you're on board or you're off board. For years, that was my backbone of comedy. The last 2 years, I haven't been thinking that way. They're paying to come see me. I have to make them go away happy. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not what it used to be when you first started doing comedy. So that allure of being crazy is what really grabbed me about comedy. If I wanted to go home and be in bed at 10 o'clock at night, I could have become a mechanic or a doctor or got a girlfriend. That wasn't, once you become a comic, you commit to this whole other, that's where you get your material from. That's where you get your passion from. It's going into the unknown, not knowing. A lot of people can't go into the unknown, not knowing. That's a certain gift. When you go on a triple run, you basically go into the unknown, not knowing. You know, you don't know what's going to happen on a triple run. It's not like going to the punchline in Philadelphia. It's not like going to the punchline in San Francisco.
But life is like that anyways, without drinking and doing like. And I'm not, trust me, I'm not down on it.
No, but
let you guys hear. But it's like your wife put that much
people in
more
life
on you.
can do that, and you got no. It's the magic ticket. You're partying every night.
You're partying every night,
especially like in the 80s and in the 90s. It was like drugs were everywhere, and then it's free drinks everywhere.
Part of the comedy thing was living on a tightrope with no net.
I thought I was part of the Rolling Stones. I just had to catch up to the band.
Yeah, me too. I didn't want there to be a net. That was part of me, the reason I got into comedy. I was going against society and what society believed in.
Right.
I don't want to do what society does. I never want to do what society does. Never, ever, ever, ever do I want to be a part of society in that way. I always wanted to beat to my own fucking drum. Yeah, I'll do things that you guys do, but that's not the purpose why I'm living. I never wanted to live for the Joneses. When I read Ladies and Gentlemen, Lenny Bruce, and he was living at the Chelsea's doing heroin with strippers, that was the life I wanted. If you woke up with chlamydia, you take a shot and you go back on stage on a Tuesday night. That's just the way, that was the allure I got into it. This life that I'm living now, with agents and managers and wives and children, I've accepted this. This is the next level of comedy.
Every warrior needs to eventually move on to wise men.
Move on to wise men.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. The allure of comedy for me was saying, fuck you to society. I had already done time. I was already considered a Hell's Angel, whether I wanted to or not. Society had already put a sticker on me. I'm a felon. If you're going to ride this wave out, let's ride this motherfucker out. Why not be a funny felon? You know what I'm saying? Like angry felons, they're all tatted up. I did time. Yeah, well, let's just be a funny felon. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's an angle there. And that was it. That was the angle. I just wanted to be a funny felon. I didn't give a fuck where I woke up. When you go on a triple run, you leave on Monday night and you get on that highway, you don't know what's going to happen. That's tremendous. That feeling is tremendous. People dream of that. People go to bed at night jerking off. Someday I'm going to be free. I'm going to leave this bitch and I'm going to get in that car and I'm just going to fucking drive. People say that all the time. They don't know that one day it might come real. One day you're like, I'm giving up my fucking apartment, dog. I'm doing comedy. I'm living in my fucking car. And people
I did it. I mean, it's exciting. It's romantic.
It's exciting. No, and people are like, are you crazy? You can't live in your car. Watch me. And it's like I said on this, it's got to be the same when you travel and do comedy internationally. When you commit to the universe takes care of you. The same thing happens when you go to Mongolia. You know what I'm saying? Like you get there and picks you up. Anybody have weed for you? Anybody offer you a line of blow?
No. I would not. No, and I don't know what Mongolia is, but like
there's certain places you just don't.
In China and those different countries in Asia, all of the penalty for drugs is execution. So I don't fuck with nothing, and it's great now that I don't drink. So I'm bright-eyed, clear.
So China,
citizen.
Japan too? Have you been to Japan?
I don't know if Japan is death, but most all the other ones, Jakarta and Malaysia and
the Philippines.
In Japan, on prisoners on death row, they do not know their day of execution. When you're on death row in Japan, you wake up every day thinking this might be my last. I was in Japan earlier this year. I hadn't been to Japan in 10 years, and I read all this shit about Japan. And that was one little factoid that I thought was pretty amazing. And then also, if you commit suicide in Japan by jumping in front of a train, your family is sent a bill for disruption of service. Ain't that a motherfucker?
So, I mean, those two facts are kind of sad, but to me, like Japan's the one country that like I really like. That's probably my number one.
Japan's amazing. It's
like,
the Germany of Asia. It's like it's efficient, it's clean, and they're fascinating people too. Like the way they're so stylish. Like I saw this dude in Tokyo, and he had full on yellow Adidas. I put it on my Instagram. This dude was like, he looked like he was from Brooklyn, and he had like gold chains, like he was a rapper, like a hardcore Brooklyn rapper from, 92, but it's a Japanese guy living in Tokyo. I was in Osaka about 10 years ago, and I saw these guys, and they were, the car culture's big there, those kind of LA hot rod cars and stuff. I saw these dudes in Osaka. They were dressed like Mexican LA gangbangers with even the hairnets and the flannel shirts with like the buttons, 2 on the top and the white shirt underneath. These dudes are just like in the 80s when you would see like the real 80s and 90s movies where you see like movies of LA Mexican gangbangers. These guys studied that. And that's going to be my style, See women over there wearing like fishnet stockings and like a raincoat buttoned up and like stiletto heels. Like what pervert invented that style? It's just fascinating culture, what they lock onto.
It's funny, when I lived in Hollywood, a Japanese woman lived in my building who was pretty hot, very sweet woman. Had a black boyfriend, real cool. And she used to wear some outfits that you would sit there and me and my wife would just look at her like our heads would just shake. And she was a mom. She did not give a fuck. Hot pants with fishnet stockings and sneakers with no toes. Blue hair, she was just stylish as shit. And I used to snort coke in that building. And she would do power yoga at 4 a.m. That's the only time she could do yoga. She would leave the house at 3:45 and walk from Schrader and between Sunset and fucking Hollywood Boulevard. She would walk. This was way before the conglomeration of Hollywood. I'm talking about 2000 when you could get mugged in Hollywood.
When it was still gritty.
When it was still gritty. Masayo is her name. I used to call her Ma.
Messiah?
Masayo.
Oh.
I used to call her Ma. I love her. I still talk to her once a month. We stop over there. We say hello to kids. But she would fucking leave the building at 3:45. I'd be coked up looking out the window and I'd see Masayo walking down the street fucking to yoga, power yoga with hot pants and heels and socks on, just the craziest outfit. She would change her. She cuts hair. So she would change her hair every fucking week. I never saw nothing like that in my life. Very neat, very cool, and very real. It wasn't an outfit. That was who she was.
Right.
Like most people have to get up and plan and go to the tailor and, shave their... No. Masayo did everything. There's some people who fake the funk. She did it perfectly. She wasn't faking the funk.
I think the style setters for the world are young American, young black males in America and young Japanese girls and women. I think they are if you go to Japan, whatever like young women are doing, you're going to see that 5-10 years later all over the world, the way like black American males, the same deal.
Now, when did you fall in love with traveling? Because I will tell you one thing. I don't know dick about dick. But you are, out of all the comics I know, the world traveler. I mean, you really have used it to your advantage, this comedy thing, to travel and see the world.
Yeah.
So, again, some people fake the funk when they travel. They just want to seem interesting. So they'll tell you about these places that are cool. And I've been to Ibiza, and, that's great.
Yeah.
You're still a fucking jerk off. You know what I'm saying? You got chlamydia from fucking that shit. What's that shit where they scroll left?
Tinder?
You see LA is like fucking on fire with gonorrhea and chlamydia.
Oh, right. I've seen the billboards around LA. Yeah, I'm glad I missed all that shit.
Yeah,
I'm glad that wasn't around when I never did online dating, never did online hookups, all that stuff. But where I started traveling, I always had wanted to travel. I had a great career as a comedian, with being on Comedy Central in the early days, and then that sitcom. I always loved that story that you tell when you saw me after my sitcom was done
Improv,
at the Improv, and you said I was sitting at the bar by myself and I looked like I didn't have a friend in the world.
Yeah.
I love this story because, like,
it's true.
It fucked with my head.
It's true. It really is.
And I didn't,
yeah, once your show gets canceled, people don't call back no more.
Everybody in LA treats you like you got cancer.
Yeah, it's fucking
And
weird.
then all these people I thought were my friends stopped taking my phone call, and like, it was fucked up. Just the way people treat you in LA after your show doesn't make it. And it was like, I'm still Tom Rhodes. I'm still a great comedian. And I thought, fuck this town. And I moved back to New York. Because I had lived in New York when I was 20 like a dog. I moved there from Florida to be a comedian, full of dreams, wasn't good enough. I could only afford to live in Washington Heights. This is 1987 as crack was coming to the neighborhood. There'd be gunshots in my neighborhood. On Cabrini Boulevard where I lived in the morning, there'd be smoldering, burned out cars. Like, people would steal cars in Lower Manhattan and drive them up there and then just set them on fire.
Under the bridge.
Just set them on fire.
Yeah, tremendous. That was a great place.
I'm sure, that's funny. They're like, I'm living there terrified, and you were the guy tiptoeing away with the lighter.
What you do is, that's where you took your car. It's a fact. If you want your car to disappear, you don't want to pay that car.
Yeah, so that's where I lived, and then that's all I could afford to live in 1987 at 20 years old.
Leave the car in the ignition.
Yeah.
And put $20 in the driver's seat.
$20 for what?
So I had lived
to your car the right way.
So I'd lived there like a dog, and I always swore if I ever had any money, I'd live in New York with style. So when that sitcom finished, and then showbiz going ice cold on me in Los Angeles, I moved back to New York, got a Rockstar apartment in the Wall Street area, and I looked at all that money I had as my NBC artist grant. So I was like, man, I got dough. I can do whatever I want. So I started taking trips to London. And I was focusing on New York. I was still doing road stuff in the States. My favorite places, San Francisco, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Chicago, Seattle. My main places I love to play. And then I started making trips to London, and I got in with the Comedy Store in London, and then I started playing. London started bringing me over regularly, and London's a really exciting, great place to play. Especially then, there were so many clubs, and the clubs paid decent. And then it's like, nobody in Europe knows that I had some sitcom. They don't give a fuck. All they care about is, oh my God, you're a great comedian. Let's have you on our stage. Let's invite you to this party. Let's come with me, whatever. And then that led to gigs all over Europe. And then I'm playing in Amsterdam and Paris and Berlin. And then I fell in love with a Dutch girl, but also, ended up moving to Amsterdam. But getting in with London was the key to the world for me. So that also led to gigs in Asia, and then comedy festivals in Australia, and that's how it kind of started. I always wanted to travel. My mother's from Argentina. I had never been there at that time. Now I've been there 3 times. And I've had a really beautiful life as a comedian, and that allowed me to travel. And then all these magical things happened to me, like ended up, being offered my own television show on Dutch television and doing that late night talk show in Amsterdam for 2 years. And then that was like I said, I never liked soccer before I moved to Holland. I always thought, that's, kind of a girly sport or whatever. But like the Dutch are fanatical about it. The English are fanatical about it. So I really started to like it and get into it there. I interviewed a couple of the Dutch soccer players on my late night talk show. And then finally going to Argentina, the land of my mother, my family and everyone in Argentina, that's all they care about. That's their main passion in life. So I went to a soccer match in Argentina that ended in a riot. My family in Buenos Aires, their favorite soccer team is called River Plate, and my cousin Fernando took me to see River Plate play Quilmes, which is a factory town 20 miles outside of Buenos Aires. Really intimidating. We go into this town, and it's dirt roads, and there is cops everywhere. I mean, the most vicious-looking cops you've ever seen in your life, and they're holding shotguns, and they're holding axe handles with just the wooden part of an axe without the top part on it, and they're just looking at you as you're coming into their town like, please give me a reason to bust your skull open. And then some of them had German shepherds, and it's like, holy fuck. So this is how insane South Americans are about soccer. These people will, just lose their mind and go berserk. And the home fans sit separate from the visiting fans, and there's a wall that separates them. You can't even bring lighters into the stadium. There's people checking you, and there's like a big pile of lighters. So I don't know who started the fire that eventually happens in this story. So Quilmes is and there's a wall of razor wire around the field, not barbed wire, razor wire, a tall, big wall of razor wire. So Quilmes is losing 4-0, and the home fans were so upset at their own team for such a poor performance, they set fire to their own stadium. And this is a South American, concrete stadium. So I don't know, whatever debris, clothes, paper, Coca-Cola cups, I don't know what the fuck, or if somebody brought in gasoline, all of a sudden the other side of the stadium is engulfed in flames, and all we're on the opposite side. So there's this big gap opens. All the people over there are now getting away from the fire. There's a massive fire on the other side of the stadium. And then these lunatics, like 40 or 50 people on the other side of the stadium, are trying to get onto the field, and they're climbing the razor wire. And then like 100 riot police came streaming across the field, and the players scattered. Because it's all of a sudden there's a fire, and then all these fucking lunatics are trying to get onto they're climbing the razor wire, and these fucking like 100 riot police in helmets and batons just went streaming across the field, and they're just fucking beating people off the fence, and then they shot tear gas into the stands.
Jesus.
It was pretty intense, man. And then everybody they canceled the match. There was like 20 minutes left. The game's done. The Quilmes has forfeited it. They've lost it. And this was on a school night. So they made us wait in the stadium for 2 hours before they would let it. They didn't want clashes in the streets. So I don't know why they didn't keep the home fans locked in there first. But they let the home side out first.
Because they set fire to their side.
Yeah, it's fucking South America. You don't know what's going to fucking happen.
But they live there. They could have waited. I mean, it's it's a school night. Everybody's got to work the next day. So all these people from Buenos Aires for the River Plate, they made us stay in the stadium for like 2 hours. And these people are getting restless, and they're banging on the big steel walls doors to be let out. And then these fucking Quilmes police start shooting tear gas canisters into the stadium to where we are waiting to be let out. And these Argentinian people were very used to tear gas canisters because they just nonchalantly picked them up and threw them back over the wall and shit. I was like, oh fuck, this is intense, But it was I would rank it among probably one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Really?
It was so cool.
Now,
I mean, at the time and especially when the tear gas started coming over, everybody, there's this animal instinct when you're in a crowd. If you've ever been in a big crowd when some shit happened, like you can imagine gunshots go off, like how the way people scatter.
Terrible.
So there's this certain animalistic instincts we have when shit happens. So there was a couple moments when, the crowd surged and people started pushing as a whole that were a little terrifying, but it was pretty intense.
Now, how many weeks a year do you travel?
My wife does the finances, so I was on the road more days last year than I was at home. So what I've done in LA is I'll be on the road 2 weeks a month, and I'll be on the road 2 weeks a month. But, there's been time, like last year I went to Asia for a month. It doesn't always work out like that.
Does she go with you on those long trips?
She went with me to Hong Kong a couple months ago. And she'll go to the cities that she loves, New York and Chicago, Austin, Texas.
Listen, no offense to anybody listening at the house, to this podcast, but Anthony Bourdain's dead, and I don't feel so good myself. You really enjoy this shit. Listen, I know people who fake the funk in LA, and they do anything to be cool, and they buy the secondhand clothing and all that shit. You're real from the heart.
Yeah.
This is a show you have here. This is a show that it's so weird how in today's world, you really don't need a lot of things that you think you need. You know, like right now, a guy like you could have your wife come with you on those trips, tape you interviewing somebody, you at that fucking club, you at a restaurant. That's a 9-minute episode. You cut it and you put it up, and you get a travel pack or a fucking something that every traveler needs. You get them to sponsor your little TV show. And even if you fucking make a minimal amount of money, just enough to cover the wife and you and the plane ticket and that shit.
Yeah.
It's really worth it to show people your experiences. I mean,
and then also comedians around the world and what are people making jokes about
listen, by the time
in other parts of the world? I mean, we've talked about this because
by the time you pitch this and sell it, it'll be 20,000, 22. You're in no danger.
No, but I've had this idea for years.
Yeah, you have to attack this.
I was filming this.
You have to film this.
Videos wherever. When I made a pilot on Malaysia, I did a lot of different things. And,
this is.
But check it out. Last year, my wife and I came up with a great format. I had the idea before, but then she structured a formatted show, and we chose 10 cities around the world and made. And made a structure of what those episodes would look like, and the people we would talk to, and the things we would do, and example episodes basically. So pitched it to CNN, pitched it to Comedy Central, pitched it to the Travel Channel, and they all passed.
Yeah, no, they're not. They don't even see the vision. They don't see what I see. The problem with today is that they're thinking.
Well, one of them said, what if you had a younger ethnic guy traveling with you? So it's like that's all LA people now. They want diversity,
No,
We're
not talking about diversity. We're talking about a show. You being the same thing I see. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Let's throw our cards on the fucking table. I barely like the 6-hour flight to New York. I barely like that flight. Okay? If I'm the type of guy, when I went to prison, they did the prison psychiatry department, does a fucking test on you. And the guy came to me one day and he goes, if I had something that you wanted, I'll give it to you. Because if you really want it, you'll take it anyway. And I got really offended. What he meant by that was, if I want something, I'll do it. You know why I don't travel overseas? I don't like that long plane ride. I just don't like it. It's not me, guys. It's not me.
I'll tell you, man,
when I go to Jamaica and I see those skinny chickens, I can't eat that shit. I can't eat that shit. I'm not into none of that shit. I'm very
Well, I
picky.
tell you, I like those long plane rides because one of my obsessions is my Delta frequent flyer status. And I've hit Diamond 2 years in a row. This year, they made it even harder. So this year, it used to be 125,000 miles. Not bonus miles, not kicks from the credit card purchases and shit. That is 125,000 miles sitting in the seat, which is very difficult to do. So now they've raised it to 140,000 this year. And then you got to spend like $15,000.
What do you get for diamond status?
Diamond is the best. So you get to use the first class lounge every time you fly. You're bumped up. I get bumped up to first class probably 50% of the time I fly. And then you get these choice benefits. And where you could use like 8 coupons for certificate, whatever you want to call it, to ensure that you're bumped up to first class, or you can use it for like 4 internationals. And that's what I always get. So I love the long international flights because you're fucking smashing it on the miles, and I can use these international upgrades. And man, that first class, when you're on an international flight, it's like you're depressed when you land. It's like, oh my God, you got the bed sleeper, you got movies, you got real silverware and real food. It's not like that throw a sandwich at a motherfucker in economy. I mean, you're talking like steak and whatever, and bringing around the warm nuts and I don't even drink anymore, which is people they got high end wines. If you look at, I've read something about the breakdown of how a flight makes its money. Like each flight, 60% of the profits is from first class. So it's like the airline really doesn't care about the people in economy. So it's like they want to like please those people in first class. That's why like the first class lounges get nicer. The way they treat you in first class is nicer. And it's like it's almost you're bummed out when you get there. It's so nice. So and that's another reason why I'll go to Europe a couple times a year. I'll go to Asia. I'll go to Australia and do gigs because I love going to those places. But also, it's I love being diamond level on Delta. It's great. I could have a helicopter on this roof within an hour, baby. Just let me know. I'll hit the app. Boom! I'm kidding. And then also you get like 1 or 2 free companion tickets within the United States. You can bring your spouse or your partner or whoever for free with you. There's a really lot of nice perks about it. And when you complain about something, they call you back instantly. Those are the travelers they care about the most. On Delta or any airline.
I like Delta. I
love Delta. And I'll tell you what I used to do.
They got a 20-minute guarantee that you'll get your luggage.
It's great.
Unless you get 2,000 free miles or 1,000 bonus miles.
Yeah.
You get 20 minutes to get your luggage. So I stop, I get a taco, and by the time I get downstairs, my luggage is there, I pick it up, and Uber picks me right up. I got my own little Armenian Uber driver.
Well, now here's another thing.
Perfect.
With Delta, when you're diamond level and you got a tight connection, you get off your plane. This has happened to me twice. You got a tight connection, or even when I was in Seattle, I had plenty of time. I didn't, but they did it anyway. I guess it was slow for them. I'm getting off the plane, and once you step off the plane to go into that little tunnel, there was a woman standing there with one of the little iPad, and it had my name on it. And I'm like, that's me? She goes, oh. And then she opens up the door. You don't even go up the tunnel. You go down the steps on the tarmac. If you look, when you fly Delta, look out when the plane lands and you're waiting to get off, just look out the window. Delta's got, at every airport in America, these Porsches. And let's just say Delta really small on the window. They got a little fleet of Porsches for their Diamond Elite passengers who have tight connections or they just want to spoil them. So I've only had that happen to me twice. But Stanhope, I've talked with him about Stanhope. That's like a thing. You're like, whoa, it's really nice. And the woman in Seattle, like, I had plenty of time, and she just like, oh, we just wanted to, let you know, thank you, we appreciate your diamond status. And then she drove because I didn't have a tight connection. She drove all the way around the airport. And like, there's you big planes, and you're in this Porsche, and you're like, oh my God. And the woman goes, well, and she drives back, and she goes, well, so do you need anything? And I said, well, I got an hour to my flight. Can we take another lap? She goes, yeah, of course. I go, just drive a little slower this time. It was really great. So I mean, it's pretty pimp. American used to be my airline. But after they merged with U.S. Air, I think they treat you like animals. I think the attitude of their employees changed. And I've had people dispute it because Bert Kreischer loves American. So but he's first class level. Whatever the diamond equivalent is for America, I never reached that on American.
On American,
I never reached that level.
I've been flying American for 20 years with Rogan. I know those UFCs were first class tickets.
Right. Well, I used to be, and then I had a few employees treat me like shit. And after that U.S. Air merger, I thought they're the airline, and I was a proud American guy.
I fly through 3. I'm an American, Delta, and JetBlue guy. It all depends where I'm going.
Right.
I'm very loyal to Southwest too. San Jose.
I can't deal with the corny jokes on Southwest.
Listen, I got earphones. If
anyone lost $300 wrapped in a red rubber band, we have found your rubber band. I grew up in Orlando. They would tell that joke on the Jungle Cruise, and like Southwest is still rattling off these like.
I put the earphones on. I get the business select.
But I tell you what I used to do.
I'm a clear guy too.
Yeah,
I use clear.
Well, that's another thing you get with Diamond for Delta.
Clear, yeah.
You get clear for free.
Yeah, $8 a fucking flight.
You get clear for
can't
free.
lose.
It's so great in LAX, and there's like a mile, a line a mile long.
Yeah, they don't have
and
like
you
Kennedy.
go straight to the
Oh my God, I love
front.
it. I love it at LAX.
And everybody in line's like, "Who's this fuck? Why does he get up?"
And you just cut in front of people, moms and shit with kids.
So you can go and sign up per flight? Because I didn't want to do it every month.
No, but
No,
I
you sign
take,
it. You do it for a year.
I
You
take 2
can't do
flights
it-
per month, so it's $180 a month, $180 a year, right?
Oh, I don't know
Yeah,
because
it's $180
Delta,
a
when
year.
you're Delta Diamond, you get it for free.
It's $180 a year, so I take what 20, 30 flights a fucking year.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like $6 a flight. It's worth it to cut, but a lot of airports don't have it. It's starting to fucking piss me off.
Yeah,
But some
but
airports, some airports have it.
80% of them have it in the States.
Yeah, shocking.
And if you have to pay for it, it's worth it. But
Kennedy
with
doesn't
Delta
have it.
Diamond, you get it for free. But I'll tell you what I used to do, because comedian, you're struggling, and you gotta be economical. For years, I would go on Expedia or Orbitz, and I would always get the cheapest flight.
No, I don't do that shit.
So I got tired of being treated like an animal. And about 5 or 6 years, and I would always try and get American.
And you don't really get a cheaper flight than Expedia.
No.
You don't really get, you
No.
get nothing.
You don't get a
Nothing.
deal.
It's
And-
not a deal. It's a bullshit story.
No, and so those are the passengers that they give the least priority
Yes.
to on a plane.
Yes.
You are boarding in zone 6 or 7. There's no overhead space when you get on the plane, and you're gonna get like a fucking middle seat. They don't give a shit about you.
They don't give a
So, I would lean towards American because I was trying to build up the points set, and then they pissed me off in 3 or 4 times, which made me say I'm going to stick with Delta. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I made the choice to buy all my tickets with Delta and only fly Delta, even if it's $50, $100 more. And in the long run, that's better. And because I get treated like a king on Delta. And another thing, you get to board with first class even if you're not in first class on Diamond when you're Diamond, which is great because then you're the first one on the plane. And you can put a tuba in the overhead. You got all the space in the world.
I do that every weekend. I don't fuck around, dog. I'm the first one off the plane and the first one on the fucking plane. I'm in one fucking D every week. You understand me? I got that little thing looking.
So you're always in first class?
I always fucking first class. I've been with American for so long. I get my agents to get more money from the clubs. I fucking finagle miles.
You get them to pay for first class
I
tickets?
get them to pay a little more. If they pay $750, what's first class? $850. So for a yardstick, I travel like a doctor. What do I give a fuck?
Right.
What do I give a fuck? For $100, I travel like a fucking gentleman. I don't ever want to get stuck on a long flight to New York in the back on economy. That's not gonna happen.
Or in the
I'm too
fucking middle.
old. Or on the way back. On the way back, Papa don't want no drama. Papa don't like drama on the way back at all. Papa gets up for the first flight. Papa don't want to wait on no lines. Papa ain't got no time.
Papa didn't take no mess.
Papa gets to the airport early to have eggs. I want to see the yolks. I don't want to see no yellow eggs. You got yellow eggs, we don't do business. I want to see the yolks. You understand me? And I want to see the bacon. Don't give me those airport eggs. That's like stadium beer. I'm gonna have a headache for 4 days and shit blood. That's not happening in my world. I don't do much. I don't bother nobody. But when I fly, I don't want no drummage.
Yeah.
I get on the
Well, I mean, as a
first.
comedian, you spend so much time flying. But that was the thing. I was getting beat up for years
Yeah, those people
trying to
with
get these cheap
guitars.
tickets, and then it finally dawned on me that that's the way for suckers, man. The
Suckers.
people who fly once a year.
I know scams that nobody knows. Why? Because I've been flying for 27. You follow me?
Yeah.
Plus, you got to remember, I've been flying. My wife, I went to Disneyland last week with Mercy for her graduation. She graduated pre-K. And my wife said, when was the last time you were here? I was 10. And I thought about it. I came out here by myself when I was 8, 9, and 10. I went to Disneyland with my uncle. I paid for my own plane ticket and everything.
Wow.
I've been flying on myself for years. I used to come out by myself, and my uncle would fly east, and we'd fly out together, and then I'd take the plane back to New York by myself. I've been flying for years. I love it, but I know how to scam people now. I know what. Listen, you're never going to upgrade to New York, Chicago. We haven't been with the airline that long. Those go with people that have been there for 30 fucking years, and they make our traveling look like nothing.
Yeah, or they got companies are paying for their first class
you're
travel.
You're never
going to
get to upgrade.
I got to run to the bathroom.
Go ahead, take your time, but hurry up. Let me get some shout outs here real quick. That's what happens when you get old. You got to pee every fucking 10 minutes.
That's the truth.
Even if you don't drink fucking booze, you got to pee. How about Eddie Torres? A shout out for him. My man Joe Grant, Tony Rule Jr., Deborah Hubster, Xander Wilson, Stefan McBride, Jason Padroni, and Joseph Harris. I love you, motherfuckers. Don't forget, July 7th, I'm at the Ice House, 7:30, working out with Uncle Joey. And don't forget, July 13th and 14th, we're at the motherfucking South Point in Las Vegas. Lee's banned for life, so you won't see him at the South Point, but don't worry about nothing. We're still doing bong hits for Jesus. Don't worry about nothing. But it's good that you're learning about flying, people, because it's fucking... Look, nothing bothers me more than when I see people get crushed. 2 weeks ago, we all flew to Vegas. I go, Lee, take the flight out of Burbank. He took the flight like a fucking mukyak that he is, but then he started to pay $60 for the fucking, for the lift. So it's $120. So that, if you, for the extra $80, you fly right over here like a doctor, and you follow me?
Yeah, no, next.
Sometimes the math.
Well, it wasn't 60, it was 35, but no, I should have flown, I should have just pre-bought it. Like, that's the thing with you guys, is you buy your tickets sometimes right, like,
right when I get the fucking date, right when they call me, before I agree to the date. First off, I love Delta, I love American, I love JetBlue. United's the Puerto Rican airline. You take them if you're in a tight situation.
Anytime you think about taking United, you just pull up that video on YouTube of that Chinese doctor being pulled off.
That Chinese doctor, you won't see him again. I wish I took a beat like that. That guy's on an island getting his dick sucked. He's got a blonde licking his asshole right now, blowing darts into his asshole. You haven't heard from China Man, have you? You haven't seen him pop up in any videos or nothing. He's at a bank right now, just giving everybody 20. Suck my dick right now. Who gives a fuck? He still has the blood on his face from United. He had it tattooed on his face, the little blood stain he had when he was yelling out.
But I was going to say, during, I kind of
First thing I judge is what time you get me back.
You told me you always get like the first plane in, the first plane out. I've thought about that.
First flight out. Okay, so if I have to be at your club Thursday, one show. If I could fly out at 5 or 6 and be in your town by 2, I'll be in the hotel by 3. That's 4 hours. I can take a shower, take a 2-hour nap, get room service, or eat downstairs and still make it to your club for one show.
You told me that a couple years ago, and I've done it a few times.
I'm not coming in Wednesday.
A lot of times, and I'll take the first 6 a.m. flight out. Which I got that tip from you, which is a great, because boom, you're back in LA at like fucking 10 in the morning.
You're back in the morning. You want to sleep? Sleep in your own fucking bed.
Yeah.
But for me to sleep half-assed till 11, get up, I got to be at the airport at 1:55. The flight's delayed. Then by the time I land in LAX, it's all hell in LAX. It's 4:30. It's packed. The 405 is packed. The Dodgers lost. Everybody's pissed. Fuck you. I'm not getting home till 6:30 at night like a savage. No, that's not worth it. Just get out of there early. Get the fuck out. 2 hours, you get to the airport. 2 hours.
That's a great tip, man. I used to,
and I hate it. I hate it.
I would always try and I would always think, oh well, you know, I'll get like a late afternoon flight back, so I don't have to. Yeah,
I even worked with D'Agostino. It was too late for him to get a plane ticket because I got so busy with Netflix and this and that. I didn't get the plane ticket to Calusa Casino, so I didn't get him a plane ticket. So I said, D'Agostino, I'll just give you cash. Just do the drive. And Saturday day we were talking because the gig was Saturday night. So I go, D'Agostino, drive up Friday, stay at your sister's, because he always goes to Sacramento anyway to see his sister. I go, then drive Saturday to the casino and blah, blah, blah. So Saturday, I'm outside smoking a number with him. And he goes, I'm thinking about leaving tomorrow. I go, listen, bro, I don't know if you know this. The worst drive in the world for me is that San Francisco to LA.
Why?
It's a great drive. Take the 101, take your time.
Jose, no. Listen, I'm 55. I got one foot in the grave, one in banana peel. That's 5 hours, no matter how you slice it. Maybe 4.5 if you're lucky. And there's always traffic.
Stop and get some Anderson's pea soup.
No.
Nobody?
I don't want pea soup. If I want pea soup, I'll watch The Exorcist. Leave me the fuck alone. I've had pea soup. I'm 55. I ain't got much time. I ain't got 5 hours to drive and wave at people like the Kennedys wave down the 101. I ain't got that type of time. So
I'm the kind of guy that'll stop at a roadside stand and buy some cherries.
I used to. There used to be a time when I loved all that shit.
Yeah.
Now I got a 5-year-old. You know, I can't go to San Jose, get in my car at 11 o'clock at night and not get in till 5. And then you don't fall asleep till 6:37. And then you sleep 2 hours. Your whole day is fucking ruined. That's how I used to do San Jose. That's why for years I didn't do San Jose. For years they would call me, hey, you want the fuck? No. Because you guys won't go for the plane ticket. I'm not doing that drive. I'm not doing that fucking drive. I hate that drive. I remember quitting the San Francisco comedy competition in 98 and renting a car and driving back and going, I'm never doing this drive again. Like, this was a big fucking mistake. But at that time, I had money from a commercial, a Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah.
And I was such a coke fiend, I still slept on the beach. I'm like, what? I just spent $200 on an 8-ball. Well, I just paid a $59 for the hotel room in Santa Cruz. What the fuck is wrong with me? And I finally got a hotel room. But that is the worst drive.
Well, I used to drive all over the States, you know?
Oh, we all did.
Yeah. But no. But I mean, like in recent years, like when I wasn't living anywhere, I still had a car. And when my dad was still alive, he lived in Anaheim and my mom was in Orlando. So like if I would go to Asia, I'd leave my car in LA with my dad, or go to Europe, leave my car in Florida with my mom. And then in the States, I would book things in blocks and work my way across the country over like a month or two period. And my wife traveled with me. We loved it. Like, you know, leaving from Orlando, do like Atlanta, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Chicago, Minneapolis, then drive. You stop off in Montana, and fucking then do gigs in Seattle and then Portland, San Francisco down, and or work my way across the bottom, doing like El Paso, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans.
Don't get me wrong.
I loved
all that shit.
I loved it. Yeah.
That is something that's our soul. That's the soul of the comedian. That's when you first get into comedy, and even afterward, and you just get in the car and you tell your problems to the highway.
Yeah.
And the highway tells you they have problems, you know what I'm saying? And you're out there and you just take it. That's a different life that once you accept, you're in. Like, I'm all in. I love all that shit.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's different. Like, from when it was started, I was doing that and sleeping in the car like you did.
Oh,
but I'm talking about in the last 10 years when I had a really nice used BMW and my fabulous photographer European wife, and we were making adventures out of it. I would like book things with thinking of, we'll work our way across the country and then we'll spend a week in Austin, spend a week in New Orleans, and that was when I was still drinking and partying, and or like go across you spent a month in Montana about 6 years ago, and then like go see the Crazy Horse Memorial, or like there's it's about 2 miles from Mount Rushmore. Is this they built it's taken them like 100 years to carve this crazy horse on a horse, and Mount Rushmore could fit on the horse's head. You ever heard about this?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
sort of.
It's amazing.
It's weird that you've really taken advantage of the traveling side. I know a lot of comics that never will take advantage. Like me, I'll never take advantage of that because I'm kind of scared. Part of it is fear.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I have traveling abroad. Like in my world, I got into this country. I ain't taking another chance.
That's hilarious.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they let me in one time. I'm good. I'm good. Why fucking spit in fate's face? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why come back and they're like, wait a second. You came in under Tom Rhodes in 1966. You got to go back to Cuba. Where the fucking deport me to? I ain't got that type of time right now. So right now, let's leave the paperwork how it is. Let's leave everybody how it is. We won't fuck with you. You won't fuck with us. And we're good. We're good. Send the postcard. Send the postcard. Don't wash your hands when you eat the sushi. Just come back on the plane with your little sushi fingers and we'll sniff them.
Do you have a passport?
They yanked that motherfucker.
Ah. Yeah, man, I'm good as gold.
Yeah,
that.
no, you're good.
I was born in Washington D.C., baby.
Yeah,
I'm like fucking.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know where I was born. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just paperwork. It's scattered. We make believe we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. Our paperwork says one thing. My mother told me the other. I don't know who the fuck to believe. So we'll just leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? What's that? We'll agree to stay friends. What's that statement?
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree. I won't go to the border,
Oh, man.
and you won't come get me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll never see me at the border playing in cages, little Mexican kids with a soccer ball and shit. Every day, they're gonna blow that up. Every day, they got these kids on the border.
I like it, man. Like, and I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Asia, and I'm gonna go back to Asia in August for 2 weeks.
And you got club dates?
And I'm doing. I'm doing. Well, I'm gonna do a weekend in Kuala Lumpur. Love Malaysia is amazing. And the food there is incredible. It's a Muslim country, but it's sexy Muslim. The women wear like colorful headscarves. It's hot and it's tropical. So like, there's.
You eat monkey and shit like that? You ever
No,
eat
man.
crazy?
No.
Alligators, no dogs.
Malaysia
no
and
cats.
Singapore are right next to each other, and they both do this black pepper crab. Crab is one of my favorite things on the planet. Black pepper crab is worth flying to Singapore or Kuala Lumpur for. And then in Malaysia, they do this, it's called murtabak, which is just like, oh my God, man. It's like kind of like roti bread, but with like minced lamb and egg and chopped up onions in it. And there's like a curry sauce that you dip it in. I mean,
You know the farts that come out of your ass?
no,
How
this
bad
stuff is
the
better than cocaine,
lamb,
man. Better than
onions,
cocaine.
and eggs. You know what comes out of your asshole? Pure fucking hate. That's what ISIS smells before they go out and chop heads off. They
All right.
smell that
Well, I'll be
shit.
ripping some ISIS farts in
What else
August.
is in that
So I'm
mixture?
doing Kuala Lumpur, and it's one of my favorite places, Malaysia. And then I'm doing Beijing, Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and then Shanghai. And that'll be like 2 weeks. And then in October, I'm going back to Europe. Did I mention I'm at the Punchline in Philadelphia?
Yes,
June
July.
28th through the 30th?
Yes. Now let me ask you a
June
question.
20th. So in October, I've never been to Portugal. I've been invited by this Portuguese comedian to do this comedy festival in Porto. And then he's also lining up a gig for me in Lisbon. Never been to Portugal. All my European friends, their favorite place is Portugal. They said it's like cheap, it's amazing, cities are beautiful, beaches are incredible. So I'm really excited to go to. I've got a week in Portugal, and then I got a week in Paris, and hopefully we'll find out very soon if I get the green light. I want to film my next hour special in Paris, the second week of October, like October 14th, which is Sunday. That's the date I'm shooting for. I'll know soon.
Paris, Texas.
Paris, France. I got a long history with Paris. My first love of my life. I lived in San Francisco with a woman from Paris, Natalie. We're still good friends. First time I went to Paris, I was maced. Some guys tried to rob me. I got a lot of great stories about.
Didn't Anthony Bourdain just hang himself there?
In Strasbourg.
Is that Paris?
No, that's in the south.
I don't want
Yeah.
to know where
So then I'm going. So after Paris, I'm doing Oslo, and then I'm doing a comedy festival in Ireland, in Galway, the last week of October. So I got all of October in Europe.
It's like impossible to do.
What's
What?
that?
He didn't want to go anywhere. Everyone has hung themselves. Where you gonna go? You gonna stay in your house?
I think so. Let me ask
That's
you a
pretty
que-
sad that a guy like that everybody admired fucking wasn't happy. It's like when Robin Williams killed himself. I thought, man, if that guy wasn't happy, none of us stand a chance. You know? Yeah. I don't know. And then Bourdain had a kid too. I couldn't imagine.
It's
It
funny
was pretty
how
fucking
you
selfish.
think money's gonna solve all your problems, and sometimes money just can't shut that little voice in your head off. You know what I'm saying? We always think something's gonna shut that voice off, but we have to shut it off. It's kind of weird. It's scary. You think about it. But is there something that, beside a passport or Delta, that you use on all your traveling? Is there a certain briefcase or a jacket or something? I'd really love to help you with this. You don't understand. Listen,
Yeah, I tell you, if
I know who fakes the funk,
okay.
and I know who really enjoys something. I've known you for 15 years. First time I met you, I knew who you were, but the first time I met you, you showed me the second episode of you interviewing the singer from Radar Love, and we connected on that level. And you were like a child explaining it to me, whether we were doing blow, whether it was 6 in the morning or not. You were like a child. You were so excited about this. And you have the same passion today about traveling.
Yeah.
You got all these fucking humps on TV. You know what, man? It's so true that even if you shot a pilot that cost you $30,000, the networks would not get it. They didn't understand about you eating. I never heard of a black pepper crab. You?
No.
You understand me? Like, these are little things that people don't catch that a guy like me catches. I wish I could do what you did. I'd fucking hit it out of the park. The only reason you would fail is if you didn't build it up before you released it. I can't do that for you. Lee can't do that for you. Your wife can't do that for you. Only Tom Rhodes could do that. But I think you have a tremendous project on your hands that could be done on the internet. And we could curse. We could smoke a bong hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, well, let's get the funding for
when
it.
When you do these gigs international, I mean, you know, Bourdain did Pittsburgh. I want you to go down to Jersey Shore. You like crabs? We'll go to Tom's River and we'll play.
I'm doing Pittsburgh. I've never been to Pittsburgh. Like the first week of December, no, the last weekend of November.
Bourdain did it.
No, I'm gonna do a gig there.
What I'm telling you is, you go to Tom's River, and we'll get those crab.
But Bourdain went every fucking week.
No, he didn't go to Tom's River. We'll get those crab cages, and we'll drop them on the other side.
But I would do it if I did a travel show. There wouldn't be no eating in it because that was his thing. My thing would all be comedy.
Listen to me. You said you like blue crabs, right?
Yeah, black pepper crab. I like any kind of crab.
Don't worry about fucking Bourdain or whatever. I'm telling you that we'll stop in Tom's River. We'll throw some fucking those crab things out, and we go. We smoke 10 joints. We come back. The nets are filled. We bring them to Louis' house down in Tom's River. He makes a spaghetti sauce. Your dick will stay hard for 18 hours. You understand me? You'll be calling the doctor going, come help me. I got a heart on for 18 hours. You need to take Viagra. No. Red radiation clams from South Jersey. These things will keep your asshole fucking going like this. Wee-wah, wee-wah, wee-wah. For 18 hours. Tremendously. When we were kids, we'd catch those clams, those crabs, and bring them up north.
Are you allowed to eat those?
Listen, it don't matter. You just eat them and play them.
This is why
those fucking pollution crabs and shit.
Yeah, they should test you with pollution.
Those cancer crabs. Ooh. You put them in a red sauce. You put that Italian bread and dip it in that cancer sauce. Ooh. You give somebody a taste of your dick when they swallow that sperm. They have that taste like it's bad mayonnaise. You know what I'm saying? Like when Lee eats California roll, he has that special taste on his face. Lee don't like California roll. It's got mayonnaise in it. Anyway. But no, seriously, all jokes aside.
Better than oil crabs.
Shut the fuck up, cocksucker. Let me tell you something. You're a true passion. This is always, since I met you, this has always been one of your main focus of conversation. You know things that most Americans do not know.
Yeah.
You know, do not know, and will never fucking know. You know the comedy side of all these other countries, which is very fucking interesting. Gabriel, when he did his special, he talked about going somewhere. Where'd he go? And he said the guy picked him up was a comic. His cousin was a comic. Excuse me, because of YouTube. All those international
Was
places.
it somewhere in the Middle East?
Yes, he went somewhere in the Middle East, and they were like going crazy over Gabriel.
Yeah.
And he goes, everybody was trying to tell him jokes and shit because this, you know, comedy is growing internationally.
It's all over the world.
It's all over the world. I mean,
I've seen it in Asia. There's comedy scenes all over Asia that didn't exist 20 years ago.
You have a tremendous show on your hands, bro. And like I said, by the time you sell it, I know you got the talent, but by the time you sell it, they'll give it to a white guy that's 24.
Yeah.
Before they give it to you. You know what I'm saying? With blonde hair and an earring in his nose.
Exactly.
With a tattoo of Viva Paris on his chest and a sperm shot under his nipple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I'm just one day at a time. You know, I'm focusing on doing that special in Paris, and then hopefully.
I hope it all works now, man. If anybody's paid their fucking dues 3 times, it's you. Did you quit high school?
No, I finished high school.
I'm not offending you. I'm sorry.
No, I never went to college.
I thought you quit high school to do stand-up. Somebody else.
No, I started it when I was 17. I was still in high school.
In high school.
I was a junior in high school when I started.
Who quit high school to start comedy? Hicks? Or Dwight?
No, he finished high school.
Somebody. Dwight Slade? Or there was somebody who quit high school to do comedy this senior year. I forget who the fuck it was.
I loved high school. Man, you kidding? I got to host the pep rallies and the talent shows. Got to do the afternoon announcements. Also, Oviedo, Florida, when I grew up, there was a small town, and everybody knew I wanted to be a comedian. So they let me do all this. Because everybody knew I was playing in the nightclub in Orlando on the weekends. I stopped going to dances and football games. I was going to the comedy club.
What comedy club was in Orlando back then?
There was an independent club. When I started there, it was called the Funny Farm. And then a year later, they changed it to the unfortunate name of the Copa Banana.
What year was this, Tom Rhodes?
I started in 84.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was 17.
Jesus Christ.
Started February 4th, 1984. I was 17 years old.
I had just landed in New York City. I was living in Aspen, Colorado. And I said, fuck it, I'm going back for my birthday, which is February 19th. And I flew in on the 1st, and I was in the States like the 14th. I ended up staying. So while you were starting comedy, I was starting my junior criminal career. You follow me?
Junior? How do you get to senior criminal?
Huh?
How do you get to like full senior criminal?
No, I never made it. I got intercepted along the fucking way. As you could tell, I'm a fucking comic now and a podcaster, so I don't have time to do crimes of passion anymore.
I'm sorry.
The fuck?
Yeah, man. And I graduated when I was 18, and then 1985, and then I went right on the road like a month later.
Now, you already knew Gardell at that time?
No, he didn't start. He started like probably 88, something like that. I was doing it like 3 or 4 years. I remember when Billy came around on open mic nights, and I remember when Carrot Top came and did open mic night. They shunned him because he had props. They said, "Come back when you don't have props." And Daryl Hammond, I remember when Daryl was doing open mic nights, and he was doing the voices and the characters, and yeah, man, it was great. And then it was a great club. Ron Bennington had a comedy club in Clearwater, Ron Bennington's comedy scene, and then meeting him, and that was really, I was different down there, man, because he was like the first comedian I'd ever seen who was like talking about real shit, and like just people just not being hacks, just trying to be real and do some fucking quality shit. And so down there in Clearwater, man, it was Bennington and Jim Brewer used to play down there. There was a lot. It was really great. It was different than what was going on in Orlando, you know? So it was a lot of great.
What was going on? So Orlando had how many comedy clubs at the time?
Only one. And then so the Copa Banana eventually became Bonkers. And,
oh, shit.
Yeah. Then the San Filippo's bought it, and it became Bonkers. But it was in it was in these nightclubs, these dance clubs. Like the first one was Park Avenue, and then it was JJ Whispers, and this were like the hottest clubs in Orlando.
So
like,
there would be a comedy show from 8 to 10. Then at 10 they clear out the chairs and then have dancing?
Disco with a side small room where were comedy. So like the disco was already raging, and then like being a young man, I mean I had a fake ID, man. I wasn't even old enough to be in there. And like I'm meeting like women in their 20s, 30s, these older women. Oh man, I had a great time. I loved it.
So you're doing comedy in a room.
I think some of the waitresses had sex with me just for the novelty
of you being a kid.
Yeah.
So you're doing comedy next to a room that's playing music, and you could hear the disco music.
Yeah, I mean, partially. And then this is Florida in the 80s, so there was a lot of cocaine, and everybody dressed like Miami Vice, and everybody thought they were Tony Montana, and it was an interesting time, you know?
Fuck Tom Rhodes. Tom Rhodes, I can't wait for the book to come out. Most importantly, I can't wait for you to fucking do this little web series. This is the only way it's gonna work.
Well, I mean, I was putting money into doing it years ago, and it was just
money. You don't need big. If your wife shoots and you both edit in the beginning for the first season,
I was doing it. I would call it extended arm productions because I had a camera and I would film myself. Doing stuff. But I did that for years.
Just to get.
And then it would cost a lot of money to edit it, and you know, I don't have the money to do it on my own. You know, I need something to happen.
There's got to be a way where they tape you, and you go get off the plane, show them what has to happen, where you check in. You For a guy like me, it would be interesting. I just need the right guy. I'm not going to watch some fake comic on
Right.
Discovery, go to some fucking... No, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch a friend of mine tell a story. Do you know what I'm saying? Go to China, show me the toilets that Ari talked about, how you have to shit and there's no toilet paper, take a picture of it, To me, I've never seen that stuff. That'll blow a guy like mine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And I'm the type of guy that... I think you're one of the most interesting comics working.
Thanks,
If
bro.
I was a real comedy fan, I'd go see you every time you were in town. Because I know you're constantly right. You're not one of those guys that brings the same shit every time I see
Yep.
you. You're constantly writing. And I would ask you questions afterward. I would ask you stupid questions like, hey, I'm thinking of going to Australia. What airline should I fly? Because I know you would take 20 minutes out and explain to me.
Yeah. Well, people email me all the time, and they'll ask me for travel advice, and I do it all the time. And it's like, there's a lot of... And then this guy wrote me the other day, hey, man, my daughters are 21, and they're going to Amsterdam. Well, I just told this other guy last week all the Amsterdam things to do, So, I don't know. I need to put out a travel book or something.
A travel book. Who was the guy that put the fucking book out about how to pack? Who had a friend?
I don't know.
Somebody had a friend of ours that put a book out there. That's how he hit.
I don't know. You asked me what I'd take with me on my travels.
Yeah, like, is there anything that on every trip
Well, I'll tell you what
you take because it really helps you be a better traveler? Is there a guide? Is there a video? Is there a watch?
I mean, I always bring like books that I'm reading, but there's things like, bring your own soap and a thing, because those little hotel soaps are, even in luxury hotels are usually kind of small. I use To-Me luggage. I used to use Travel Pro, but something happened to them. You buy a Travel Pro luggage. It costs about $300, $350. You get them.
Why is it so
You get them on sale. Well, it's just quality luggage is always that expensive, but it used to be worth it because a Travel Pro bag used to last. I would get 4 or 5 years out of a Travel Pro bag.
Oh, that's one bag?
A suitcase.
Oh my! Well, all luggage is expensive.
I get
So listen to me. So listen.
That's wow. That's
The last
What
two
does it
Travel
do?
Pro bags I had only lasted the one I had one lasted 2 years and then it fell apart, and then the last one I had lasted like a year and a half, and it fell apart. So you're dropping $400 on a piece of luggage, and it only lasts a year or two. Something happened at Travel Pro. They stopped the quality product they were offering before. The seams would bust, the zippers would bust. And I said, "Fuck that! I'm not using them anymore." So I got the last two bags I got a carry-on bag from To-Me, and I love this. It's the greatest. It's a regulation size, fits under the seat over the head, and then it's got the zipper in the back where you pull out your computer. So when you're going through the thing, it's beautifully designed. It's great secret pockets on it. It's got pockets for everything, but it's this back zipper, and you go through the metal detector, and you got your computer comes out. You feel like a pro, and you're zipping through there, especially with clear. Boom, you're through there.
Send them an email.
So then,
tell them you want them.
I already have.
And what they
I
say.
asked them to sponsor my podcast like 2 years ago. Never even got a reply. And then the quality To-Me bag I bought for $1,000. The piece of luggage. So the carry-on thing is like $300, $350, and it's a beautiful bag. So my wife was like, "Man, are you gonna spend $1,000 on this piece of luggage?" And I'm like, "Listen, I'm a comedian, I'm a headliner, I gotta show up with the quality stuff, and I don't need some punk ass Travel Pro zippers busting, and I don't want to travel around. Oh, now I'm gonna hump it out with a year with a bag that's got a busted zipper. Fuck that. I'm a professional traveler. You know what I'm saying?" So I spent the $1,000 on the To-Me bag, and I believe in this To-Me stuff, man. They make beautiful luggage.
Does it come with any special like compartments or anything? Does it have like a mirror?
Well, I mean, they got different kinds. You can get the kind where the old style, or I like the fold over garment bag kind. So it's got like inside pockets. It's beautifully designed. You got a place for the shoes, place for the socks, place for the underwear, and then you hang the thing, it open beautifully, and then you got outside pockets, which I put my toiletries in case when I land, I need to get the toothbrush or something, you know. And then just the outside pockets are beautiful. So check this out. Last December, I was playing in. There's this tour of Switzerland. I've done it 3 times, and it's great. It's a week of one-nighters across Switzerland. So you do Geneva, Lausanne, Basel, and Zurich. And I had a day off, and I went to Vevey, and I went to Charlie Chaplin's house. It was great. So flying back, actually the tour ended in Basel this time. So I had to fly back from Basel to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to New York, and then, or no, Amsterdam to Atlanta, and then Orlando for Christmas. So Amsterdam got snowed in. So I got stuck in Basel, Switzerland for an extra couple of days, which isn't a bad place to be stuck in Switzerland. And when I finally got out, and in Basel, Switzerland, the airport, they use some kind of machines with claws. The bottom of my beautiful, expensive bag got these. It ripped them. It got these big. I don't know, about the size of your thumbs. These 2 big nicks. Man, took a photo of it. Went immediately. Like I picked it up, and then my first thought was, "Holy fuck!" I was on KLM, which is connected to Delta, but I bought the ticket through Delta because I buy everything through Delta. And then when I landed in Amsterdam...
That's Delta.com.
/church.
In case you listen, Delta.com.
When I landed
Tom
in
Rhodes.
Amsterdam and I got my bag back, I saw the things, and I went to the complaint luggage area, and I took photos of it. And Delta Airlines, and I kept the receipt for the thing, paid me the exact amount of money for. So the oh shit, I'm spending $1,000 on luggage. They sent me a check for $1,000. So now I look at that luggage, and it's got these thumb-sized scratch nicks on it, and I love it because that means I got a free piece of luggage.
Delta.com. Don't forget. They pay you.
Tom Rhodes at the Philadelphia Punchline, June 28th through 30th.
Always a pleasure, Tom Rhodes. I always learn something.
I love you so much, Joey.
Learn something. Follow Tom Rhodes. If you're a traveler or you're interested in traveling, these guys are superb. Him, Ari, I listen to their shit, and they know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're passionate about it. It's not like sitting at the griddle, and some guy's like, I went to... Alioli, and, dropping all these names. Fuck you. You're an amateur, you fuck. You went over there sucking dick the whole way. They spanked you when you were over there. Tom Rhodes is a respectable individual. Anyway, when are you? June 28th through the 30th?
June 28th through the 30th. I'm at the Punchline in Philadelphia.
Damn. That's a good fucking date. I need to be in Philly.
Have you ever done this West Nyack, New York?
Yes.
How was that? I'm there.
Tremendous.
I was going to ask you because I've never been there.
Tremendous.
And I'm like, I had to look that up on a map.
Good pizza.
August 30th through September 2nd.
Fuck yeah, you're there. You're 45 minutes out of the city. You're in my old haunts.
What's it like there? It's nice?
Listen, you go to the hotel.
Yeah.
You bring a couple numbers with you.
What do you mean numbers?
They got Chinese food. They got Italian food. They got something else.
Is it a nice town?
Barbecue. Let's pretend you shot 18 people and you came in.
And you need to hide out.
And you need to hide out. That's where you go, West Nyack. Nobody's going to find you. But the audiences, they're Brooklyn, the Bronx, and northern New Jersey, and Queens.
All right.
Syatt and Nyack and shit. Last time I did it, some dude heckled me. He went to the bathroom. 3 guys came in, hit him in the head with a bottle.
So you don't fucking heckle Joey Diaz.
No. West Nyack is heavy duty.
Put his head in the toilet.
Heavy duty. Nyack is heavy duty. They ain't fucking around over there. Very interesting. Good people.
Yeah, man.
Have a good time.
Good. I'm excited.
Stay at the hotel.
I'm playing some new places like
Listen
that,
to me,
and I'm doing Pittsburgh like the last week in November,
Pittsburgh
and then
Improv?
Yeah, Pittsburgh Improv,
Great place.
last weekend of November.
Great
and then,
place.
And then I'm really excited about Philadelphia next week because it's the first time I'll be there since I fucking busted my head open. And that was like such a
4 years ago, huh?
significant moment.
Change your life forever.
I'm going to, I think I'm going to go 10 years. And then I might start having a glass of wine, have a beer. We'll see.
How old are you now?
51.
So you'll be at
57.
when you're 10. By that time, you won't even want to drink wine. You'll say, "What's the big fucking deal anyway?"
I don't know, man. I like going to Paris and Rome and sitting in cafes and reading books no one else understands. So,
I wish you all the luck in the world. You're a great man. You're a great comic. And
you're a great friend, brother.
You're a family church
love you
guy.
with all my heart.
I'm happy you came on today. And don't forget to follow Tom Rhodes and the fucking Flying Jew over there, my brother, my little brother. Don't forget the Ice House July 7th and South Point the 13th and 14th. Listen, like I told you in the beginning of the fucking show, I fuck around with you people. As far as when I fly a lot, I'm always on it fucking immune. I'm always on this, what is it called? Shroom Tech Immune. I'm always on it. You don't see me traveling like a little Japanese dude with a mask on and shit. I travel al dente. I take 2 fucking Onnits and nobody fucks with Uncle Joey. You understand me? Whether it's the Alpha Brain, whether it's the chocolate, Mexican chocolate protein powder. Listen, Onnit is the fucking goods. Now they got Onnit 6. It's an in-home training program for 6 weeks. Transformation. It transforms your motherfucking body. You understand me? Go to Onnit.com right now and press in.
Church.
Bam! Get 10% off delivered right to your fucking house, just like that. Number 2, I'm a fat fuck. People, Joey, what ghee? Fuji ghee, the best. You understand me? Go to Fuji Sports right now. Fujisports.com. Why? Joey, why the fuck should I go? Why? Because their ghees are quality. Quality. You can hang on them, dangle on them. I found an old ghee from 3 years ago. It's a white ghee, but it's black from people hanging on my collar. I don't give a fuck. They never ripped it. You understand me? You know why? Quality. You're like, Joey, what ghee should I get? You can get the Seiko, Seiko 2.0. Me, I recommend the Super Raider. It's $135, but you get the 10% off. That's the best ghee for your fucking money. But the all-around ghees, the ones under $100, they do the trick too, bro. Go to Fujisports.com right now and press in.
Church.
Bam! And get 10% off. Again, delivered right to your fucking crib. I want to thank Tom Rhodes. I want to thank the Christ Killer.
Church.
And I'll see you motherfuckers next Monday morning, ready to rock. You understand me? At attention, ready to fight off the fucking Koreans. Don't believe the hype. Stay black. Have a great weekend. And that's it. Kick this fucking mule, Lee. I'm ready to stab a bitch.